about your loss to San Francisco.
I don't know how much longer we can keep doing this.
But I'm not leaving. I'm the last one left.
Hello. My name's Steven, and with me this week on the Movie Club podcast is Yashia Burrell. Say hi.
Hi, I'm Yashia. I don't know. This is really, I don't know.
Okay, well, we're not redoing the intro, so we're keeping
Okay,
it.
that's fine. I can handle that.
And she is here with me to discuss Joe Talbot's 2019 film, The Last Black Man in San Francisco. It's
Exactly.
a drama. It's a drama.
It's a drama.
It's not. You can't say it's anything else. It's about a young man who is black. Searches.
The last one. There are no more.
There are no more.
Just him.
It's a dystopian movie. A young man searches for home in the changing city that seems to have left him behind.
Wow. Did you write that?
No, I didn't write that. That's straight off IMDb, but I wish I did.
Oh.
That would be
okay.
great. I'd be like, wow, I need a job.
I was like, damn, that's pretty good.
Log lines. So you love this movie.
Yes, I do. I do love this movie.
I have never seen this movie before today.
Oh, you watched it today?
I watched it today. I wanted it to be fresh in the brain.
Wow. I haven't seen it in months, so.
Oh, well, this is going to be a very not detailed podcast then. I watched it. You love it. You talked about it, and everyone in the VCU cinema circles loves it. Ethan is like, hey, I own the vinyl.
Ethan owns the vinyl and a poster and a shirt. Question mark? I don't know. I have the shirt. I don't know if he has the shirt.
I think he does. I think I've seen him wear it on set.
Right.
And then Byron said that he loves it too.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I have to watch this movie. And I wanted to for the longest time, but I was like, oh, what if it sucks? And then I'll judge my friends on their movie taste and being
then
bad.
you have to brave.
But it wasn't bad. I really like this movie. This is a really fuck. This movie is really good.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying.
I should have believed you.
Literally, exactly. Oh God.
Each shot of this movie seems like it was like very well thought out, storyboarded, like holy shit. Like doesn't seem like a movie where they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna fucking do coverage of just gonna do over the shoulder and whatever. It seems like he thought out, he was like, okay, we're gonna compose this, how the shot's gonna be composed, whatever. And it's like, it seems like there was actually a lot of thought that went into it visually and story wise too. All right, that's the end of the podcast.
It looked really good. The story, no, but yeah, they really just like ate all around, like from all stages of production. But it's also like it took them forever to make it, so it's like it definitely wasn't like, oh, we're just gonna put this movie together and A24 is gonna distribute it and Plan B is gonna help us produce it, and like it's gonna be like they worked on it for a really long time, and so like it makes sense. It's like, and it's like Jimmie Fails' life story, so it's like, you know.
Are Joe the director and Jimmie Fails like friends in real life?
Yeah, they're buds. They grew up together. I think they went to middle school together from what I remember reading about, but they definitely have known each other for a really long time and worked on it for like 4 years because they did the Kickstarter. Got more than they thought, couldn't get enough to make the movie, did American Paradise, that got into Sundance. Then they there's this story that there's like a Vice YouTube video that talks about how they went to the Ad Astra set and thought that Plan B were going to be like, F you, no. And then they were like, hell yeah, let's do it.
What? Really? That's how it happened?
Yeah. Well, it was also because they won grand jury ? For American Paradise. So they had already made something that got some traction and then pulled up.
And I saw in the credits that Barry Jenkins contributed to the Kickstarter. And then, I mean, Plan B.
He really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he
Makes sense,
mentions it
though.
every day.
Barry Jenkins loves black people, so
He does love black people. And then apparently so does Brad Pitt, because he financed Moonlight. And then of course they showed up on, I mean,
Brad Pitt loves black people.
He really does love black people.
Cannot stress how much he loves black people enough.
And we should definitely get into that later.
She loves black people. Oh yeah, okay.
But yeah, like this is for this being his first movie. Mm-hmm. It's extremely well done. It's like it's an excellent movie. The score fucking phenomenal. I understand. I understand why Ethan has it on vinyl.
Exactly. I'm gonna pull up. I can't remember his name, or like I know what his name is, but I don't know how to say his name. Hold on. This is very important to me. I know that it's Emil, but I don't know how to say Messeri. Yeah.
We'll say that that's it. Emil
Messeri. For the
what else has he done?
People who are watching this. I don't know, but he's working with him now. Like they're doing some sort of thing, because I saw it on Joe Talbot's Instagram, and so they're working together. And I saw him on his little piano. They're shooting something. I don't know what it is.
They're shooting something.
Interesting. Yeah, they all have their little masks on. He has his little piano.
Is it the same DP?
It was cute. Oh, I don't know actually. I didn't know who. I mean, he looks kind of like everyone.
Yeah.
So I don't really know if it was him, but I know that Joe was there, and I know that Emil was there. And so
I'm looking at the DP's other work. He was on. He's done 2 episodes of.
Euphoria.
And then he's done like a ton of what he did. Want You Back, the music video.
Oh, the Haim video. Yeah,
the Haim video. Wow. He's done a lot of music videos.
Collective wows from the crowd. No, he's sick. Adam is a beast.
Yeah.
Really cool guy.
For me, talking about how it's shot, it seems like I don't know how many times have you watched this movie? It doesn't matter. I don't know.
I think I've seen it 3 times. Definitely more than once, but probably less than 3.
Is it me or the white people in this filmed a lot differently, like lit differently, or is it just me, or was I just watching this? Because it's like there's the construction men in there at the beginning.
There's the guy who's running after them when he's like taking his clothes off when they're skateboarding. There's the naked guy at the bus stop.
Yeah.
There's Mr. Fucky Renter Man.
Right.
Is that all the white people? Oh, the 2 girls on the train.
Then it's like
subway bus.
And then at the very beginning where they're showing all the happy black people, and then they show like the white people being all weird. That looks a lot different.
Interesting. I feel like to me, I didn't notice that they look different. Like I know that, like I looked up a bunch of stuff about like the camera and how they filmed it, because I was like, I'm obsessed with this movie. And I know that like lighting and stuff was really important to them. So it makes sense that they would like, and because it's like there are white people in it, but the focus is black people, because usually it's like this thing is about white people and there's mostly white people in it, but there are black people in this shot, so they just overlight everybody. Like, so they just overlight them because they're just like, well, I'm not gonna like disservice the like the subject, so we're just gonna overlight it.
Right. Yeah.
It just makes everybody look hella washed, and so it makes sense that they were like probably doing some like finicky things to light them evenly, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So like there's that aspect with like, and like all of the, I mean, obviously this whole movie is about like white people taking over San Francisco, taking over city, gentrification. And like all
This
of
whole movie's about white people.
the whole movie's about white people. That's why the movie's called White People. There's like all the construction men at the Savoy house. They're all white. When it burns down, they're like rebuilding it.
Yeah, everything bad that happens in the movie somehow directly correlated with there being a white person nearby.
That's true, because it's like even let's get into spoilers.
Okay.
So spoilers, yay.
Yay.
So like when we find out that the house isn't theirs, it wasn't made by the grandpa. Like we find that out by the white realtor. So you're right. It's like everything is found.
Everything bad that happened. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie. And he's like, "Oh, like I don't want to call the cops. Like I don't want to do that to you."
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck you, son.
Yeah.
Like, you suck."
Yeah.
But that was very like, I feel like everything sort of, except for the guy who takes his clothes off following them on the skateboard. He was kind of good. Nothing really happened bad when he shows up.
That's
like true. The very, very beginning.
Yeah. Because like even when the naked white guy at the bus stop, he's naked, then the trolley rolls up and that whole thing happens. So that is, wow.
So
that
says anything about society.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I don't know what does.
This is just a random question I have. Do you know, or do you have any insight into like why Grandpa Allen is blind?
No,
okay.
I don't. I don't know why I said that so happy. No, I'm not. But I don't. But that's one of the, like, I don't know. I feel like because like the movie is all about Jimmie being obsessed with his house, and then Jimmie's friendship with Mont, but like the relationship between Mont and Danny Glover Grandpa is one of my favorite things in the entire movie. Especially the scene where he comes in the house and Mont's packing up because he's about to dip, and he's like, "Oh, we haven't talked about the characters yet. Like we haven't." And he's like, okay, I'm leaving, so
yeah.
so there's that. So I'm leaving, so I don't know.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving for a project. Bye."
So bye. That's exactly what it was like moving out of my
house. I hope your mom is listening to this episode. I'm personally going to send her a link.
Yeah, please do. But yeah, I have no idea why he's blind. I just know that he is. Or I don't know, because it's like, is he fully blind?
Maybe. I mean, we don't need to harp on this.
It's not important, but to me it is.
How about you drop a comment on Joe Talbot's Instagram and be like, "Hey, why are you
the 7 people who are watching this, someone let me. Well, the first time I said it, I said there were 6. So
yeah. Well, we gained another viewer, and this is live.
I'm giving
right
you
now.
numbers, yeah.
So,
for sure.
I'm not gonna ask you questions. I feel like while I was watching this movie, I felt like it was a lot about identity. Do you think that it's the same way? I feel like it's because it's like Kofi changes his identity to fit in, and then it's like Jimmie, he changes his clothes when he goes when he's meeting the bank teller and he's going to meet his dad. He's all wearing different clothes, and then he puts on the front when he's talking to the guy outside of the house with the dog, and he's just like, "I'm going to be the best neighbor you've ever had," and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know if. Go ahead. I
don't know. Like I was watching, I wasn't watching. I was listening. I was watching with my ears. Another like podcast of people talking about this movie. It's Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
And they were just like talking about what is this trying to say? And it's like really interesting because like I love this movie, but when thinking about, I guess like identity like is a big part of it, because I didn't even notice this, but he does change his clothes when he's talking to his dad too. I knew that he like wears the suit to talk to the bank guy.
Yeah.
But he does totally change his clothes. And I guess like I don't know. I feel like it's a subsection in the same way that like Black male masculinity is also like a subplot, a sub motif or whatever of this movie, about how, you know, everyone's sort of putting on this facade of like, you know, not only are they lying to different people, like he's putting on these different clothes, talking to his dad, he's like lying to this he's presenting himself as this like uppity professional guy to try to get this loan, you know, but they're also like lying to themselves fully, because like, you know, the whole time he knows that the house isn't theirs, and he's like, you know, trying really hard to believe that it is, but he knows that it's not. And so I mean, yeah, I guess identity can be if you want.
It can be. I mean, it's all.
Yeah, I mean, if like that's what you want, but I guess yeah, like it is a pretty big part of. I don't know, because like to me, I feel like the relationships between the men are the most important to me when I watch this movie, because I know that like the whole thing is about him being in love with the house, but it's like his relationship with Mont and Mont's relationship with his grandfather and Jimmie's relationship to Kofi and Kofi's relationship to his friends, like are what like glues this movie together for me. So that's my hot take.
Huh. I see that.
With it as you will.
I see that. I see that. Like, yeah, I see what you mean. I think that I can rewatch this movie with, I don't know, paying more attention to the relationships now.
Exactly. See, I'm just a woman who's all about love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the end of the podcast.
That's the end of the podcast, and that's also a 3-line drop. So,
what is this thing? When I first like thought about like, oh, this movie is like about identity, because like everyone's changing their identity, and it's like
we're all changing their clothes a whole bunch of times.
Well, like, well, it seems like
no, but I see what you mean.
Well, obviously, like the clothes, his clothes, he always wears the same shirt and same clothes, and it's like that's part of his identity. And then his dad makes fun of it, and then like makes fun of him skating and like whatever, and blah blah blah. And then there's like there's an overhead shot of like his clothes all laid out on the ground. And I was like, okay, that's to mean
something's going on in my.
I think that was just confirmation bias, and I was just like, oh yeah, the movie's about identity. That shot confirms it. And then there's like he says, I don't know who he is. I just remember that
nondescript he.
I just remember that there's a line in this movie where he's like, where somebody says like people aren't one thing, and I was like, okay, everyone's changing their identity and like changing how they present themselves. So I was like, okay, that kind of goes into it. It's kind of
about identity.
I don't know.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, I guess my one, like, I don't know, because the thing about this movie that stands out to me every time I attempt to rewatch it is obviously the play section of the film, which is like, you know, the climax, if you will, of the movie. It's when he has to like reckon with the fact that he's lying and blah 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 blah. But I think that sort of is the most like that sort of story thread is the most identity, like is where the identity portion of this movie I think shines the most. But because it's like I don't know. What did you think of the play portion of the film? Because I think it has a lot to. I think that it really like shows, like what people think about the play part of the movie is, I think, very indicative of what they think the movie is saying. Like if it's about identity, or if that's kind of just like a BS throwaway, like thematic thing, and like if you think the real story is about like just like what do you think of that section?
I mean, I feel like that also kind of plays into the identity part, because it's like, or their perception of how someone wants to be seen, I guess, is what I mean. Because it's like when Mont talks about and has on the screen all of those posts about Kofi and like, man, I knew you like a year ago, whatever, and it's like much love and all that shit. It's like, and he's like, do these people really know him, and are they just trying to like put on a front and be like, oh my god, I'm gonna put you into my music, look on me from above and like all that shit. And I'm like, I see what it seems like he's trying to call them fake, and he's like, these people don't know him. This is like, so I guess I'm kind of just stuck on the identity thing.
I guess I'm kind of just stuck on the identity. Are you having an identity? Are you projecting?
Maybe
no,
I am
but
projecting.
I think, yeah, maybe you are projecting. But I think, I don't know, because now that you said what you're saying, I feel like I'm changing how I feel. Because I was saying like, oh, maybe identity isn't as big a part of the film as you were saying it is. But I guess it is in the end, because it's like, you know, like how do you see yourself, and like what, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's like, because it's like, you know, I am lying to myself by changing my clothes and by acting a certain way with my friends and by doing this or doing that, which is what like all of the characters in the film are doing. And you know, in the climax of the film, when he's at the play, the huge big thing is him reckoning with the fact that he knows that he was lying the whole time. And so I guess in the end, it is like identity that is this whole thing. Like, you know,
and like he was saying in the play, he was like, this house isn't you, this house isn't your identity. I mean, he didn't say those exact words, but he was like, this isn't you. Like, this house isn't just tied to you. And but Jimmie was saying the entire time, he was like, this house is like, this is what I do. Like, this is what I need to do. It was like I don't know. It was like, I don't know.
No, I get that though, because I feel like he sort of intrinsically tied the house to his own like human self-worth. Like he wasn't doing shit really.
Yeah.
And so he was like, this house is the thing that is me. And so by letting that go is why, you know, and because a lot of people are like, oh, well, like it's so stupid that he left in the end. Which I kind of get, that it kind of sucks that but I also just am pissed that he left Mont behind. But I guess if you take that at face value, then the whole movie is sort of about identity and lying to yourself and like coming to grips with the fact that like, I don't know, like you were putting on your own facades for people and like you were changing your identity because you like, I don't know, you felt like you needed to get something, but like really in the end you were just lying to yourself. Sad react.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much in this movie that like makes me think that it's about identity and like what. So I don't know
what it
like,
means to be you.
Because it's like, yeah, basically. And
what
like,
does it mean to be
like?
Well, I don't know, because
like,
feel like. No, you go ahead.
Like, does Jimmie know who he is without? Like he questions like his dad when he goes to visit his dad, he makes him question himself, I feel, because he's like, yo, you're dressing like this white guy, and it's like, oh, you skating and all this shit. And then afterward he like goes to try to skate like he normally does, and he can't, and he falls down, and then he goes home and he like breaks the board, and like that who he is the skating tied into who he is, and he's having some kind of like not identity crisis, but it's like he made him question. Like, I feel like this whole movie is about like making him question who he is and like what is tied into that, because it's like the skateboarding, the clothes, he changes out of his clothes, he can't skate after his dad makes him question who he is, and then the whole house thing, it seems very tied into who he is, and he's like hell-bent on fixing it and being in there. And then even though he already was denying, I mean, he already knew, but he was just denying that it was actually his house. So it's like, I don't know, it seems like he's grasping for like who he is.
No,
but again,
totally.
I'm stuck on this whole identity thing. So.
I can't get over the identity thing. No, I get that though, because you know that I wrote about this film, and when in that article it was I wrote about that and Lady Bird, because when you really think about it, this film is sort of a coming of age, like, you know, thing in this kind of like effed up sad way, where it's like you know, I guess it's like the portion of growing up that is letting go of you're like, not like letting go of your familial ties, but you're like understanding the things that your family may have done and like the people that your family may have been, and just like letting that go. And like that's what he does by leaving, I think. But I feel like, I don't know, because when I saw it, because you were like, oh yeah, the VCU sphere, but we all saw it, like me and my friends all saw it together the first time.
I didn't know.
And yeah, so it was like 6 or 7 people in the theater, I think.
Other than you guys?
But no, like all of us, like,
okay,
like of us in the theater. And the thing that like me and like a lot of people were talking about afterwards with this idea of like ownership,
right,
being like, you know, this big thing in the film, because it's like Black people don't really own anything.
Yeah, and that's said in the movie. It was like, yeah, you don't really own.
Where it's like you don't own anything. But because I don't know, I'm trying to steer away from thinking about the film as a movie about gentrification, even though it is a movie about gentrification. And I've noticed that when people talk about this movie, people who love it, I feel like most people don't actually talk about the gentrification aspect. And when I was listening to the other podcast, a lot of them hated this movie, like absolutely just shat on it the whole time. And it was crazy because I was like, I think that it's such a good movie, but I think that they, you know, one guy was talking about how he sort of felt like the movie was saying like, gentrification's bad, gentrification sucks, but gentrification happens and you have to like let it go.
Yeah.
And in like how, you know, it sort of contradicts itself with this like grand idea that he's gonna be able to just like squat in the house and like make it his own house and no one's gonna notice, because they do sort of try to make that seem like it's a legitimate possibility that he's just gonna squat in this home, or that he's gonna go to the bank and get, what was it, $4 million?
Yeah.
Of a loan to be able to buy the house. And so I sort of get that, but I also am like that's how I feel about gentrification, that it's like, you know, this thing happened and it sucks and you don't own this thing and you have to sort of find yourself outside of the fact that that's you're more than the house that you don't own. But like I think that that's really like kind of a profound thing to say, is that it's like I don't know, I don't think that any movie can solve or like give a like answer to gentrification. And so I like that this was sort of like, here's this terrible thing, but like, you know, how are you as a person going to like become yourself outside of this like place, you know? That's my hot take, because I don't have a house.
Wow.
That's how I feel as a young renter.
So you think that the people that were watching the podcast, you think that they were too stuck on the gentrification aspect? Like, I'm stuck on but that's like, obviously, like that's what the movie is about. I mean, that's one of the things that the movie is about, and one of the things that the movie is trying to say or like have a discussion about, but that's not it. And you're saying like
I feel like you can't judge it on its inability to answer like the question of gentrification, like what he should have done, or like how what he did was like objectively not that logical or like whatever. I feel like you can't judge the merit of the movie on that, because it's like gentrification, it's like, what do you do? Like I don't know. I feel like because I just don't really like I feel like it's reasonable to say that, you know, you should find yourself outside of this like, you know, space scenario. But I feel like that way in any sort of situation, like in Michaela Cole's like Vulture article, she was talking about how like she and her family rented their whole lives, and how that gave her a certain ambition that people can't replicate, and how like when you don't have a garden and you don't have green space and you don't have this certain sense of security by like owning a home, that like brings about like you become a whole different person and you relate to the world in a very different way. And that is like true. Like I don't think that this movie had to solve, I don't think that the point of the movie was to solve gentrification, even though that was like what, you know, it sort of blared in red lights that it was about.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. It's definitely about a lot more than that. Like we were talking about.
About identity.
Identity. It's really about identity at the end of the day. I saw
it's about skateboarding.
It's about skateboarding.
Nakedness. It's about.
I'm not even going to get into why that guy was naked.
Why they were both naked? That's what I was thinking about. Before you called me, I was literally thinking about how weird it was that they were both. That like all the like wild white people in this movie were both naked, or were attempting to be naked.
Yeah. And he was,
I guess it's just like a San Fran thing that I don't.
Maybe.
No, people in Richmond don't get naked that much.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true.
To my utter dismay. But yeah.
Seems
that's
like
a joke.
Nope. No. Definitely gotta cut that out.
It's a funny podcast joke.
Nope, definitely gotta cut that out. Yeah, you gotta say to my dismay, and then I'm gonna go to the outro, like now. So Yashia, do you have anything else that you want to say about this movie? Obviously, you love it. You give it a 10 out of 10, A++.
Yeah, I mean, it was 5 out of 5, but yes, I did. Speaking in Letterboxd terms, but yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. It was a great film. It has, you know, wearing the T-shirt around has gotten me lots of compliments and has been very much a conversation starter. So
with people that haven't seen it,
with people who have seen it,
okay.
Yeah, like I'll be walking at a restaurant and I'll be like, "Oh, I really love that movie," or like when I was at work and I was approached about how it was a great movie. It's just a good. If you can cop it, Last Black Man merch, whether you like it or not,
those are great. Those are great conversations that you had. People yelled at, people catcalled you and said that was a great movie.
Well, they didn't catcall me. They were, I know. I mean, I guess.
Okay.
Anyways. But yeah, that's it. It was great. I loved it. Good stuff all around. Great
oversimplification right there. You're like, oh yeah, it was great. I liked it. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was cool. I loved it, and you know that. And now these 7 people also know that.
Oh wow, you didn't go up to 8.
No.
So anyway, all of that's gonna be cut, and we're just gonna go to what you said before.
Okay, right into the white people making movies. To the naked people.
To the naked people. Yashia, where can people find you on the web?
Where can people find me?
That you want them to find you?
I have a Twitter. Should I say do I say the handle? Is that what people do?
Yeah, say the handle. Have you not listened to a podcast, any podcast before?
I have, but those people are usually like, they have some, you know, I don't really have a grabbing.
Okay, yeah,
sure. I don't have an audience beforehand. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway.
Sure, but how do you get an audience?
I'm trying to tell the people.
Okay,
at YL Burrell is my Twitter. The name is Lonely Boy XOXO. And I have an Instagram, and that's just my name, Yashia Burrell.
And on
just
Letterboxd.
Guess how it's spelled.
Oh,
and I have a Letterboxd. What's my Letterboxd? Do you know what it is?
Off the top of my
I
head,
don't know what it is.
I'm not gonna say
Oh,
whether I do or not.
Yashia B is my Letterboxd. Yashia B.
Now they don't have to guess your Instagram anymore. So yeah, I guess that's it. That's it. That's the end of the podcast.
Great.
Yashia, thank
did
you.
it.
Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Thank you for joining my podcast.
Make sure to join us next week on the Movie Club podcast. She is probably not going to be there because she didn't like this episode. Thanks for listening, and Shia, thank you again for joining me. Goodbye.
Dredge these canals in the San Francisco they never knew existed. This is our home.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Make sure that you check out the other shows that we have on the Facebook, the other main podcast that comes out every other Tuesday. Make sure you leave a like, share it with your friends and your family. Go check out our YouTube where we have content from other Production 1200 works. And make sure you follow us on the Instagram. We post sometimes there. We'll do more. We'll try. Maybe. Like us on iTunes podcast, rate and review. Give us them 5 stars. And we'll see you next time.